What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sir Cardinal, and tonight we're going to discuss the NHL playoffs. All the action begins starting tomorrow night. This year, my team did not make the playoffs. Am I disappointed? I'm extremely disappointed. My team had a potential to win it all this year, and they failed. But not to say, there's a lot of teams, the 16 teams that qualified for the playoffs are all very capable of lifting Lord Stanleys at the end of the year. We got 2 months of great playoff action, and I have some notes here, so I'm just going to be reading them every now and then, but let's get right into it, shall we? First up, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the New Jersey Devils. Both teams, different directions. Tampa Bay was the best team in the NHL, while New Jersey just snuck in on the last week of the season. The season series was a different tale. You would think that Tampa Bay would be the best team. Nope. New Jersey won the season series 3-0. Both teams have some very key players on their rosters. Tampa Bay has Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov. New Jersey has the first overall draft pick from last year, Nico Hischier, and Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall, in the second half of the season, had a 20-game point streak, got points in 26 straight games. That beat Gretzky, that beats Crosby. Unbelievable. Hall is definitely one of the game breakers in this league, and I'm looking forward to this series. Unfortunately, I think there's one thing that I think that's going to be in Tampa's favor is goaltending. They have Andrei Vasilevsky as their #1 starter. The New Jersey Devils, on the other hand, have their backup starting the series. Keith Kincaid has been given the reins, while Corey Schneider is going to be sitting on the bench. Could that change if things go awry down in Tampa for games 1 and 2? We're going to have to find out. But I have to say that Tampa Bay is going to come out of this series, and I think they're going to win this series 4-2. I just think Tampa is too far superior than the New Jersey Devils, and during playoff time, these guys are going to be ready. Even though they stumbled down the gate, but I strongly feel this team will prevail in the end. So like I said, the Tampa Bay Lightning will advance to the second round. Okay, next up we have the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Washington Capitals. I must say, out of all the playoff series, this one does not intrigue me in the slightest, and I'll tell you why. The Washington Capitals are a very good offensive team. The Columbus Blue Jackets have a great coach and a great goaltender. But other than that, I don't see much flair to this series. Let me backtrack a little bit. The Washington Capitals are always in the top seeds for the playoffs, but yet they could never cash in. They could never successfully move on when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs. They always get beat by the second round. And with a player like Alexander Ovechkin, you would think this team could be a Stanley Cup favorite. They are, but they always choke under pressure. And that's not to say that I read today that their starting goaltender, Braden Holtby, will not be starting game 1 as their backup. Philippe Grubauer will get the nod for game 1. On the other side, you have a great coach in John Tortorella. And Sergei Bobrovsky is a Vezina goalie every single season. He's candidate every single year, it seems. But during the playoffs, Sergei is a different breed. His save percentage is pathetic. His goals against average is high, and no one plays defense in front of him. Columbus doesn't have the star power to match up with the Capitals. They have a rookie in Pierre-Luc Dubois, Cam Atkinson, Calvert. Mind you, they are a very good team, but I just don't think that the Capitals are going to go down. I think the Capitals are going to win this series in 6 as well, maybe 7. This one, not very interested in this series at all, but we'll find out. Next up, we have an interstate matchup. The 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, the Pittsburgh Penguins, taking on division rivals, the Philadelphia Flyers. Hockey fans, you know these two teams hate each other, especially during the playoffs. They got 15 players on both teams that were in the top scoring out of 40. You have Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Phil Kessel, Patrick Hornqvist, Chris Letang, strong goaltender who's won 2 cups in 2 seasons, Matt Murray. On the other side, in Philadelphia, you have their crowd. The crowd is unbelievable during the playoffs. And star power up front. You have Claude Giroux, Jakub Forsek, Wayne Simmons, and they have a goalie that they picked up at the trade deadline. It's a little bit of a advantage for the Penguins, but they got Peter Mrazek. If you can have this series go the way it's going to go, you know it's going to be physical. You know the Flyers are going to come out crashing and banging, especially when they have games 3 and 4. I must say that the Penguins have a tough test, and with them being veterans, I expect them to deliver and advance to round 2. I'm saying this series is going to 7 games. Okay, next up, probably one of my favorite first round matchups. If not my favorite, it's very close. You have the Boston Bruins taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Believe it or not, the Boston Bruins could have been the #1 seed, and Tampa could have been playing Toronto if Boston would have won their last regular season game against Florida, but they lost 4-2. So therefore, Boston will play Toronto. This season series was all Maple Leafs. Their youth and skill were dominant against the Boston Bruins. Not to say that the Boston Bruins are a slouch. They're a very good home team. They have some veterans, and they have a lot of quality young players as well on their roster. I can see this game, or this series, being back and forth, with each team dominating at home. And that reminds me, the Toronto Maple Leafs were one of the best home teams in the whole NHL this season. They never seem to lose at home. I think this series will go the full distance, 7 games, with Boston having an advantage being at home. However, with the young Toronto Maple Leafs, you have Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Mitch Marner, who led the team in points against the Boston Bruins. I think that the Maple Leafs will win in 7 games. This series is going to be fast-paced, the crowds are going to be live, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Again, if I suggest a series to watch, I suggest you start to watch this one, because there's a lot of talent on both teams. Goaltending on both teams are dominant, so it should be very tight, a lot of body checking, and it should be a lot of fun. So please check this one out if you guys can. I've done the Eastern Conference. Now we're going to shift to the Western Conference, where the Nashville Predators will take on the Colorado Avalanche. Nashville Predators, as many of you know, made the Stanley Cup final against the Pittsburgh Penguins last year and lost in Game 6. This year, Nashville is one of the top teams in the whole NHL. The Colorado Avalanche, however, last season, if you knew, they were one of the worst teams I've ever seen play the game. A quick 360, and now the Avalanche have made the playoffs. They have some great young talent in Gabriel Landeskog and Nate McKinnon. You have a lot of depth players on Colorado, but not enough firepower like the Nashville Predators have. You have PK Subban, you have Pekka Rinne as their goaltender, you have Ryan Johansson, you have Philippe Forsberg. You have so many players on the Nashville Predators, and their coach is an elite coach in the NHL. The season series for the Nashville Predators was 4-0, and I expect close to that for this playoff series. I think the Nashville Predators are going to walk all over the Colorado Avalanche and say, see you later, quite early. I'm predicting this series will be 4-1, with the Avalanche going to the golf course. And that's the thing, guys, if you don't know, golf is a big thing with hockey. Once you get eliminated, they tend to go play golf. So, yes, Nashville Predators will definitely advance to the second round. All right, next up, we have the Las Vegas Golden Knights versus the Los Angeles Kings. Let me just summarize on my feelings on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I was very critical of them at the beginning of the season and their hot start. I thought they were handed off castaways from other teams, but you know what? They have to gel during training camp, and they did just that. They have a great home atmosphere. They have a lot of great players on their rosters, and look at William Karlsson this season. 43 goals this season, 42 goals this season, when his career high was 9. Like, really? You have Marc-Andre Fleury rebounding from a Pittsburgh Penguins winning 2 cups with them, and then coming to an expansion team, he turned his season around. He was one of the best goalies in the NHL this season. Their defense, they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of 20-goal scorers. But the LA Kings, on the other hand, they're a veteran team. They've won the Stanley Cup twice. You have a great goaltender in Jonathan Quick. You have a #1 defenseman in Drew Doughty. And you have a lot of players up front. You have Hart nominee Anze Kopitar, Jeff Carter, Pearson, and the list goes on, Tyler Toffoli. This is a team built for the playoffs. Dustin Brown. This series is going to be very close. And I don't know who to pick just yet, but I'm going to think about it for a few. But this series is going to be crash and bang. And the fans of Las Vegas are going to be in for a treat. And I think that could be the leading factor for the Vegas Golden Knights to prevail. They got home ice throughout the first round. With that being said, I think the Golden Knights are going to win in 7 games. Yes, Justin Bailey, I said it. I predict your boys to advance to the second round. This is a series I suggest you watch as well, and I'm sure Justin Bailey and others will follow suit. But it's going to be fun to see what to do. Can they handle the pressure of the playoffs? I know their crowd's going to get them jacked, because just by watching them during the regular season, I loved it. So we'll see. Give it a week or two, and we'll find out if the Golden Knights are for real. Next, we have the Winnipeg Jets versus the Minnesota Wild. This series should be an interesting one. They're very close in distance. They don't have to travel very far to play their games. Starts off in Winnipeg, and that crowd in Winnipeg is unbelievable. I've seen it firsthand. They get jacked for anything once they make the playoffs, any team in that city. They're very, very loyal fans, and they should be loud, and it should be a lot of fun. The season series was a little bit in favor of the Jets. They won the series 3-1, and both teams have a lot of great players on their rosters, but unfortunately, the Minnesota Wild lost their #1 defenseman in Ryan Suter, and their goaltending is iffy. Devin Dubnyk did put up some good numbers in years past, but the Winnipeg Jets have Connor Hellebuyck. He is their glue, and I expect a big, big series from him because this is his first playoff run. A lot of inexperience, though, for the Winnipeg Jets, but they do have a lot of talent on their roster, a lot of depth, and I think that the Winnipeg Jets are going to win this in 6 games. I just don't see anyone stopping Patrick Laine, Scheifele, Dustin Byfuglien. They just got an amazing load of talent. Jacob Trouba, defense, they got a lot of depth. And I think that's going to be the downfall for the Wild. They got a lot of veterans on this team. Mikko Koivu, Eric Stahl, Zach Parise. I just don't think they're going to have enough energy to keep up with a young team like the Winnipeg Jets. So yes, I do believe the Winnipeg Jets will advance in the series in 6 games. And finally, the Battle of California. These two teams seem to meet in the playoffs year after year. Their rivalries are epic. It starts in Anaheim. The Anaheim Mighty Ducks take on the San Jose Sharks. This series is always close. You have a lot of talent on both teams. These two teams are veteran teams, so it's just what team is going to be hungrier during the regular season. It was a dominating series for the San Jose Sharks as they won the season series 3-1, but the San Jose Sharks don't have their #1 guy, Joe Thornton, but they have a lot of depth. They have Logan Couture, they have Brent Burns, they have Joe Pavelski, they have Joel Ward, who is a beast during the playoffs. He's a really good goal scorer during the playoffs. And then on the other side, you have the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. You have Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, Cam Fowler, Ryan Kessler. You have so many guys, and the goaltending on both sides a little bit iffy. San Jose did make the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, and they had Martin Jones as their #1, and then you have John Gibson for the Ducks, who is kind of banged up, so if he can't go, That's a big loss for the Mighty Ducks. But this series is going to be hard hitting, it's going to be fast, and it's going to come down to who wants it the most. I really do think the Anaheim Mighty Ducks have a better crowd than the San Jose Sharks. I've watched both teams play my team in last year, and the Mighty Ducks crowd is just really raucous. So I expect this one to go the limit, and this will go 7 games. And I think the Anaheim Mighty Ducks will win to go to the second round. And then after that, who knows what's going to happen. I'll probably come back with another video for the second round. But I just wanted to get this out for you guys because I wanted to see what your interests are for the series, for any of the series. You guys can leave comments, you can tweet me, and I'll be more than happy to respond. And if you guys want to talk hockey about anything hockey related, I'm your man. There's other people in our community that knows a lot about hockey. I'm not the only one, but I'm the only one trying to present something to you guys right now. And I'm just excited for the playoffs. I've been waiting for a while. I wish my team was in. Unfortunately, my team kind of shit the bed this year, so that's it. Representing Canada. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. I almost forgot. There is one more important thing about the playoffs. Gentlemen, the players always don't shave. So I expect the fans of your teams to grow a playoff beard. It doesn't matter if mom or dad like it, girlfriend, wife. It's not their face, it's yours. So show your beard proudly during the NHL playoffs. It's going to be a great time. And we'll find out who wins Lord Stanley's Cup in June. See you guys.